Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. I am continuing to work on I'm gonna say the background at the bottom of this pass. It's kind of out of focus, so I think it's flowers, but I'm gonna start calling it background because that's kind of what it is. It's not a focal point for the piece. I passed 97% completed, woohoo! And I also passed the 9,000 stitches left mark, which is where I was hoping to get. Yeah, I was saying 298,000 and I'm less than 50 stitches off of that now, so I'm gonna blow past that today, no problem. So this is all bonus. That's how much I was hoping to get, around the 6,000 stitches like I usually do. So I think I have 2 more sessions after this one. So yeah, who knows? I might even reach 8,000 done. We will see. It's coming along well. I know there's a few people who are hoping and rooting for me to be finished by end of April. We'll see. I'm not setting that as a goal at the moment because that would just stress me out. So I'm saying mid-May, and if I get earlier than that, then that'll be nice. Nice little bonus. I'm into the more blue and purple, kind of periwinkle bit here. There's a little bit of the peacock's tail at the top of this pass. Not very much. I kind of started a little bit on that, but today I'm kind of working below it. I should make some decent progress because this doesn't look like it's too many colors. Now, I am not starting at 0. As you can see, if you look, I'm at 92 stitches done. I had some stuff I had to do. I ran the dishwasher and I didn't want all that beeping and stuff in the background, so I was waiting for that to be done, and I also baked some bread, so there was that. And it turned out okay, but I think I messed up how much flour I put in it because the dough was very gluey. So I think it was too much water to too little flour. It's supposed to be 4 1/3 cups of flour, and I think I might have miscounted and only put in 3 1/3 cups. So it still turned out okay. I was a little worried it was going to be like rock hard or something. It was good, but it wasn't as good as it normally is. It was a lot denser and not as light and fluffy as I normally like to make it. I like to roll out the dough and I butter it and fold it over and roll it over and butter it, and I can usually do that about 3 times, so it makes some nice sort of layers in it. It's really yummy. Well, this time I could only fold it the 1 time. It was too dense and thick, and even putting my back into it, I couldn't flatten it any more than that. So there was that. It didn't have as many layers, which is really yummy, and it's okay, but it was not quite right. The yeast was active because I did the whole, you put the yeast in the water with the sugar and leave it for a few minutes. So if the yeast is all foamy, then you know it's still alive. And it was, so it wasn't the problem. It was, like I said, I think I got my proportions off. And so we ate it anyway, but it wasn't quite, like I said, not quite as good as it usually is. But as I mentioned in previous videos, I'm trying to use up my flour before it expires, which is sometime in April. So I think if I make another batch of bread next week and maybe some cookies or something in between, then it'll be used up at that point. And I might just buy a smaller bag. I usually buy the big 10-kilo bags, which is like 22 pounds. But like I said, I haven't been baking as much, and so I might just buy like a 5-kilo bag instead, half the size. Because a lot of people think something like flour lasts forever, but it doesn't. It can go off. Nothing really They said the only way of preserving food that you don't have to worry about it going off is freezing if, of course, you never have a power outage. So as long as it stayed continually frozen, it'll be safe. It might not taste so good, right? The texture might not be so good if it's been frozen for a long time and it gets all freezer burned. That's not very nice, but it will be safe to eat. Whereas, like, even canned goods, all that stuff, they don't last forever. Like home canned stuff, they tell you should use it within a year, which is generally not a problem for us. Even commercially canned stuff, those last, I think, 2 to 3 years, but even so, you shouldn't. My husband did that once. He found an old can of soup in the cupboard, and I said, I think that's expired. He said, oh, it'll probably be okay. He opened it, and just from the smell, I'm like, yeah, don't eat that. It is not good. That was awful, because he would used to eat food that was questionable and end up sick, and he's like, well, I don't want to waste it. I'm like, okay, but is it worth being ill from food poisoning to not waste it? Like, I don't see that as, yeah, as being worth it. Oh. Well, my husband's family of origin, his mom was not the most food safety, shall we say, conscious. I was raised very food safety conscious, so. My dad was an apprentice baker for a while, and I worked in a restaurant, so you had to take the food safe course. But I mean, they didn't teach me anything I didn't already know at home. I always said when I worked at the restaurant, you know it's a decent place to eat because I will eat there on my days off, so I can tell you, yes, the kitchen is clean. Oh dear. Yeah, this is kind of fuzzy, but I think I'll manage. Yeah, it was supposed to get warmer, but it's cold again. Had to plug in the car again for the block heater and the battery blanket because it was cold enough. Oh, I said I was enjoying it being nice and warm for February, but I knew it wasn't going to last. It never does. We don't get consistently good warm weather until May. April sometimes is nice, but I wouldn't bet on it, but May is usually good. Although, as I've mentioned before, we did have one year it snowed May 29th, enough to make a snowman. So even then, you just never know. I had a couple times in July it actually snowed a tiny bit. Just a few flakes and they didn't stick, but it was like, are you serious? That's not the right time of year for it. Not in the northern hemisphere anyway. Oh, it was funny. My boss at the old Chinese restaurant, and I was saying something about how, you know, the southern hemisphere, they have their winter and summer opposite of what ours are. And he didn't believe me. He said, no, when it's summer everywhere. He said, you know, it's summer in China too when it's summer in Canada. I said, yeah, because it's in the same hemisphere. And he had no idea what I was talking about. I mean, granted, English wasn't his first language, but yeah. I said, the earth is like a giant gyroscope, and so when one side is tilted towards the sun, the other side is by necessity tilted away. Which means one side is warm and the other side is not. Okay, so as you can see, this color here is just like a huge area, as you can see all around here. I'm just going to kind of cut it off around here for now and fill in that, and I will do that other part later. I don't like to work across too big an area at once, so that is what I am doing. Kind of cut it off, oops, in the partway through, and I will fill in later when I get there. Also helps for filming to kind of keep it all properly in the frame if I don't work across too big of an area at once. And then I don't have too many live needles. So there's that as well. Just finished filing our taxes, so that's all done. It's funny because my husband has a refund and I had a little bit I owed, and we filed together obviously, but they do that separately. So I would be like, well, why can't you just like take what I owe off of his refund? Because I mean, it's all going to the same place, but no. So yeah, kind of annoying. We're getting a refund and a bill. Fortunately, the refund is more than the bill, so it's all good. But that is all taken care of. All finished. It doesn't take me too long, maybe an hour. That's so nice now, like, you could just, you know, do it at home, file it online, and all done. It used to be, we used TurboTax, which is a Canadian tax software company. It used to be you bought a CD-ROM and you could do up to 5 tax returns on it. And but they had to be like in the same household kind of thing. But now, yeah, nobody sells software on discs anymore, hardly. You know, it's all download now. So, pardon me, I have an online account and I just do it from there. I was a little nervous because they have a little simple tax calculator online that you can just, you know, put in what your income was and how much income tax you've already paid, and it gives you an estimate. And when I put in my husband's, it was saying we were going to owe a bunch. I was like, oh, darn it. But then when I actually did the taxes, no, they owe us. So it's all good. Because what some people like to do is you go to your payroll or whatever and have them take off more for your tax than you need. And then that way you end up with a bigger refund or whatever. But yeah, I heard some experts saying, oh, you shouldn't be happy about getting a refund because it, you know, it means you gave them a you know, interest-free loan for the whole year. I'm like, okay, but if it comes down between a bill and a refund, I would much rather a refund. I think most people are that way. Alrighty. Ooh, pardon me. Oh yeah, about to pass to get 298,000, and that's what I was hoping to reach because I started this month at 291, like 600 something. So 298 would have been definitely past 6,000 completed. About to pass that. Like I said, 6,000 has been my estimate, and some months I get more. Kind of depends. Well, last month I didn't get as much because the Olympics were on, so I think I got about 5,000 last month. So I guess maybe I'm kind of making up for it this month. Yeah, as I said, you can see this is not a confetti heavy area. This is a nice big block of color, and that always goes quickly. So I started at 95%. Approximately. So next month I expect to be at 99%. Maybe we'll get it finished. We will see. Place your bets now. Oh, we finished Starfleet Academy. It's already been renewed for a second season, so yay! But yeah, like I've been saying for a while, 10 episodes is just not enough anymore to me. I would rather they pull back on the special effects and just, but oh well. What do I know? But no, I was saying, like, we've been watching, 90s Trek with our kiddo, and I think it holds up pretty well, even though, like, Star Trek The Next Generation was all motion control models and mostly practical effects. Yeah, the paintings didn't look quite real, but they're pretty good, And, like, they would use, dry ice, black velvet with, glass bits scattered across it. And honestly, like I said, I think even by today's standards, I think it holds up pretty well. Because as always, I care most about the characters, the stories. Special effects, yeah, they're nice, but I find sometimes I feel like storytelling is being sacrificed for cool special effects, and that's just not the way I would go. And there was word that, what you might call it, Strange New Worlds, which is another prequel, they are only going to have 5 seasons, and they're 10 episodes each, so only 50, so I am sad. I kind of figured it would because they put it in their intro, it's 5-year mission or whatever, but I was kind of hoping that maybe they'd fudge it, kind of like they did with, like, that 70s show or, MASH, which the Korean War was, 3 years, and the show went on for, like, almost 12, but, oh well, I guess no such luck. We quite enjoyed the crossover they had with Lower Decks, and so Boimler, the guy who's his voice actor, ended up being a live action character on Strange New Worlds, and yeah, he nailed it, absolutely nailed it. Like, he said that he watched the whole series before so that he could get all the physical mannerisms and stuff, and he absolutely nailed it. Even the funny little way he walked with this little wiggle, and you only see it for about 2 seconds in the show, but he did it. It was perfect. Yeah. I said, seeing the boiler scream come out of an actual human being was just too funny. And he did this one where there was like a saddle or whatever, and he throws his leg over. He says, Riker! And that wasn't scripted. And the funny thing is, Jonathan Frakes, who plays Riker, was the one directing, so they left that in. And Jonathan Frakes didn't tell his wife about that part, so when it aired and she watched it, she just about died laughing, he said, because of the way he gets into chairs, right? He puts his leg over the top. He actually does that because apparently he's got back pain, and so it is easier for him to just get in and out of chairs by doing that, since he's a tall guy. He's like 6'4", but yeah. It became a joke because, like, in the show they have this battle thing that Picard does, and they called it the Picard maneuver, and so the way Riker gets in and out of the chair became called by fans as the Riker maneuver, so... So I'm going to blow way past 200. Like I said, I did almost 100 before I sat down to film with you all. And I'm going to go way past that, no problem, because this is a big block of color. So as you can see, some people like to stitch sort of by 10 by 10 square. I don't. I go across more than one when the color kind of is traveling that way. Either way's fine. It's just personal preference. I got another 0 the other day. That was fun. I have 3 more colors that have only 1 stitch left, but I checked it there. They're further over, so I won't get those today. But I got quite a few that are a dozen or less. I would say about 15 of them. So those zeros are coming. yeah, we just finished season 5 of Deep Space Nine with kiddo, so honestly, I think season 6 was the best, personally. Season 7 was good too, but I don't know, just I found season 6 of Deep Space Nine was the best. One of the main writers left after that, and so that's why I think season 7 was not quite as strong for me. It was still great, but yeah, I felt that was the best one. And then he said, after that, we're going to watch Voyager. And then we said to kiddo, then we should probably rewatch some of the later stuff like Lower Decks, because they made a lot of references that went right over his head because he had not seen the 90s Star Trek. So Voyager took a while to grow on me, I have to say. But I did enjoy it. Okay, so I'm past 298,000. So, would it be possible to hit 300,000 before the end of March? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, actually, I'm going to come from this side, but I'm going to split this. So I'm going to do it right about here. I'll add another thread later. If you've watched me stitch before, you probably know exactly what I'm doing. Branching it off. Oh, and I'm going to do that one at the end there too. I've been watching Hudson and Rex with my kiddo as well. It's a Canadian show about a crime fighting duo where one of them is a dog. But I was sad. It's they got rid of so it was called Hudson and Rex. So the main character was Charlie Hudson, and then of course Rex is the dog. The actor, he was ill and he had to take some time off. And so it seemed like they wrote him out temporarily. So they had a storyline where he was searching for a missing brother in another country, and he went into remission. He got the all clear from his doctors to go back to work, and then they decided to kill off his character. So I don't know why. It was not the actor's choice. He was quite looking forward to coming back, and they replaced him with someone else, and I can't even remember what his character's name is because he's only been around for like a season. And we still enjoy the show. It's still fun, but it's not really Hudson and Rex anymore if it's not Charlie. And yeah, I was sad. Yeah, my son agrees. Like, we both enjoy it. We're both still going to watch it, but it is not as good. They had a good chemistry with those two characters, and it was not easily replaced. So yeah, I think it has been renewed for another season still. But also the original dog who played Rex, he also passed away. They replaced him with one of his nephews. And another German Shepherd, obviously. But yeah, I was kind of wondering how they're going to do that because, of course, you know, dogs don't live as long as humans. So are they going to write that to end the show or not? I guess they don't know. That was one podcaster I listened to said that she doesn't watch much TV because of that. She doesn't like that they don't know where they're going with the story. That unlike, say, a miniseries or something, there's a beginning, middle, and end. You know exactly where it's going. And I mean, she's got a point. There are some shows that, yeah, they should have ended before they actually ended. Like, we were enjoying, they did Robin Hood adaptation, a TV series, and we were quite enjoying it. It was pretty good. I got it on DVD for like $20, so it wasn't much, the whole series, but yeah, they killed off some main characters that really should not be killed off if it's Robin Hood, and yeah. They were trying to keep it going when they should have just wrapped it up, and then it got canceled anyway, and so yeah. It got a little repetitive. So it was fun, but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I would watch it again. And yeah, there was actually the guy who played the sheriff of Nottingham in that. He said he read one of the scripts where it was a major character killed off, and said he called up the producers and went, "Are you guys nuts? What are you doing?" And it was like, well, that actor wanted to leave. That was the only way we could write them out. So yeah, I'm trying not to spoil it for anyone if you haven't watched it. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't bad, but the first season was the best, and then they kind of floundered a bit. And you did have to put up with some anachronisms, people saying shut up, which was not a thing back then, I would imagine. Like, I believe if people said shut up, they would mean like a house that's, shuttered tight, not stop talking. Or people say okay a lot. And it kind of got wrecked for me because somebody was saying when they were watching Outlander that Claire says it quite a bit and Jamie seems to understand it, but actually okay was not really something that became part of the common, parlance or whatever until the early 1900s. So it's a word we use all the time, so we kind of don't think of where it came from or when it began, but there's a few sort of, I looked it up, and there's a few sort of theories of where it came from. There's one saying it came from a political campaign, was like the initials, and basically like saying it meant, or that it was short for all correct in like Latin or something like that. And I don't know, but basically they said you could tell from studying historical writing and stuff that it didn't really enter common usage until around the 1920s. So it gets used a lot in historical drama because a lot of people don't know that. Or I said I got annoyed because people would call it makeup, and they didn't start calling it that till, fairly recently. They would have said cosmetics. Or like I said, I was reading a book and it was set during the American Revolutionary War, and one of the characters checks the guy's hand to see if he's wearing a wedding ring, and I'm like, but it's the mid-1700s. Guys didn't start wearing wedding rings until like the 1900s, around World War I. I looked it up. So, because I remember thinking, that doesn't sound right. And yeah, it was a self-published book, so they didn't have any editor to go, excuse me, that is not correct. Well, you never know. Some people do that on purpose. There was a book I borrowed from the library, thankfully. I didn't pay for it. But it was like, oh, a retelling of, Camelot and the Knights of the Round Table. I thought, oh, awesome. Well, they wrote it as like this mashup of like historical and modern. And so like they had cell phones. And I'm just like, no, that's not what I thought I was getting. I don't know. Maybe some people enjoyed it, but yeah. I kind of read the first chapter, was like, okay, this is, yeah. When I ordered this off the menu, and you gave me something that was okay, but it wasn't what I thought I was ordering, kind of thing. There we go. So yeah, there's kind of a like a dome down here, dome shape down at the bottom here. I think it's like a flower petal, and then there's some that kind of comes around beside it. So I'm kind of doing that stuff there, and then I'll probably do the dome shape below it before I move over to the right some more. Yeah, I moved the whole frame over, I think, since last time, or maybe it was last time I had, but see if this piece is enough for these few stitches here. So if I stitch to 300 today, that'll be over 200 on camera, because I believe I said it was 92 when I started. And we'll get some knitting done at the end of this month because World Championships of figure skating are coming up. Yeah, so I'll probably do sort of this little shape here and then this sort of wedge next one around it. All right, so I'm going to come sort of to the bottom of this, at least the farthest left edge, and sort of start working my way back out again to the right. Blah, can't talk. Ooh. This is purple, but mostly blue in this area here. Nope, that did not work. There, let's try that again. That's better. this happens. I was pulling the thread out and it kind of twisted on itself as I was pulling it. Ugh, what a mess. See if I can pull it apart, but I think this is probably not fixable. Yeah, rats. I probably could pick this knot, but it would get all sort of shredded where I picked at it, so I'm just cutting it out. Yeah, it generally happens if I try to pull the thread out too fast and I didn't sort of smooth it as I went. I do know better, but yeah. I try to take a shortcut sometimes and I end up paying for it. I thought you said this was a shortcut. Sure it is. Look how fast we got lost. I was saying the other day I hadn't seen any rabbits in my yard for a while. We had 3 last week. They were all playing in our front yard. They were all chasing each other around and stuff. It was pretty cute. They're all still white because it's winter. And they change colors so they can hide in the snow. Okay. Right, let's kind of take a look here. All right, so I'm gonna kind of cut it off around this grid line here for now, maybe a little bit below. We'll see as I stitch. I often say I decide as I go, so I make a loose kind of plan, but then, yeah. Okay. Oh, it was out. I swear sometimes it's out in my working tray, but I can't find it until I take out the envelope first. Then I look again, then I find it. Oh, well. No worries. So around this grid line is where I'm going to split it for now. Looks like I'll have to get another long strand. So you kind of wear this, I don't know, A-frame house symbol comes in. This triangle symbol comes in is probably where I kind of make the cutoff there. Oh dear. Okay, I think I only got one end successfully through there, yeah. If I keep pulling, that would just get worse. What are you doing? There we go. All right, just unthread that because I'm not going to use it for a while. Kind of let those colors drift off and just fill in, coming back up towards the right there. I'll fill those in later. Yeah, just gonna double check. How long is this piece here? Not very. Okay. Both of these are gonna run out at some point in the not too distant future. That's fine. Do do do. Smooth that back out. I think that is all I'm going to get out of that, and then I will use the other strand till it runs out and then start a whole new one. This is kind of some shading around a leaf that's kind of in soft focus there. Nope, that won't work. That was only one strand. There we go. Why don't I stitch to 300 today, since I did almost 100 ahead of time. Yeah, the top was almost all one color, but now we're starting to get a few more. Just do some of that. Like I said, I'm kind of splitting it there. I'll do more of that later on. All right, this will take me to just over 300. There, 301, but like I said, I think 92 of them ahead of time, so I didn't do quite that many on camera, but still, good number. I'm happy with it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.